Muck and Grind Show, second week of the playoffs. We're here. What's your name?
My name is Jeremy Northup.
I'm Caleb Morgan. Welcome back to the show, muckandgrind.tv. We're going to get into it here. All series in the West 3-1, all in the East 2-2, except for the Philly Penguin series, which we'll get to much later in the show. We're going to start off with Phoenix-Chicago. Last late goal for the Chicago Blackhawks to tie it to send it to overtime. Yet another overtime, yet another winner in overtime for Michael Bodker, or Mikkel Bodker, however you want to pronounce it. And Phoenix goes up 3-1 in the series. Should Phoenix feel more shaky after giving up 3 late goals to send it to overtime? Or should Chicago feel more down after losing 2 of these 3 overtime games and being down on the verge of elimination?
It almost seems like Phoenix is planning these. I mean, we go into overtime. We got Mikkel Bodker, apparently the most clutch player in all the NHL. 2 game winners. That last one was terrible yesterday. 5-hole on Crawford.
Yeah.
That was not a good goal at all. But yeah, it seems like they're pretty comfortable playing late into the game and in overtime.
Yeah, I mean they were in a fight all the way down to the end of the season to get in the playoffs. They were slightly more comfortable most of the time than the Kings and Sharks were, but they're used to playing a defensive style, and they're certainly not planning to have breakdowns late in the game. They could have had this series 4-0 and swept already. Unfortunately, they lost one of those overtime games for them, but it's unbelievable that every time Chicago finds a way, guts it out, and then Phoenix has been pulling these out. Like you said, that goal on Crawford last night in overtime.
Awful.
Terrible. Probably the worst overtime goal we've seen in the playoffs so far, and there's been a lot of overtimes.
Yeah.
But what a surprise. Here's the story again. Corey Crawford versus Mike Smith, who we all knew coming in was going to be a huge factor. He has been there up 3-1.
I agree. I mean, Mikkel Bodker looking like Jaromir Jagr yesterday on that breakaway, just pushing people off. And Mike Smith has been great. He had 30 saves again yesterday. Also, the Coyotes defense is blocking a ton of shots in front of them. Like 20, I think they led block shots 21-6. 4 straight overtime games. This has been a great series. I'm enjoying watching it, for sure.
Well, yeah. You know who's not enjoying watching it is Marian Hossa right now, because Rafi Torres decided to pretty much possibly end his season. Torres obviously gone indefinitely. We don't know what the actual number is going to be. It doesn't really matter at this point.
Yeah.
Probably not going to see him again.
Yeah.
And then Marian Hossa, there's no word on what the injury was. There's no word on a return. Seems like he's doing better than expected, but you know, you got to think maybe if he was in there for the end of last game or the 2 games ago, either of the games in Chicago, if he could have finished them, this may be a different result here, because both of them obviously, like we said, go to overtime.
Yeah.
Marian Hossa is a huge premier player, tons of skill. You need a goal late, you need an overtime goal, and you're without a guy like this. That's a huge detriment. So Phoenix is sort of getting it done here by taking out one of the best players of the Chicago Blackhawks.
I agree completely. Rafi Torres saying it was a hockey play. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but yeah, Hossa would definitely help this team. I mean, they haven't gotten a lot of scoring from their top guys. Their D is stretched thin. It seems like I saw that Seabrook and Keith are getting over 30 minutes in these games. They don't have the depth they had when they went to the Stanley Cup a few years ago, and it looks like Phoenix is ready to finish them off. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe Chicago, after losing so many overtime games, is just going to be mentally in a different world when they get back to Phoenix. How about this? Like I said, all the series in the East besides Philly, 2-2. We got the Senators, we've got the Capitals locked up with the number 1 and 2 seeds here at 2 games apiece. Ottawa used overtime on Wednesday to tie it up, and then the Caps hung on to a 2-1 lead after a Semin power play goal in the second period last night, and Boston could not match. Boston could not score in the third. And you know, which team here would you say looks more poised to actually pull off?
Well, I think the Capitals might do it. I mean, again, we talk about goaltending, I think, every single time. Braden Holtby, 44 saves yesterday. We got Pierre Maguire saying the annoying held by Holtby. Make the T-shirts, copyright everything, you know? Driving me crazy. But Braden Holtby, I mean, I don't really know at this point. The Senators, we said that they would be outmatched and they wouldn't have enough physicality to play against the Rangers, and here they are with enough physicality to play the Rangers. They're scoring
any
goals.
Other team
exactly.
Right now.
I mean, I think either one of these teams could win these series, and we might see 2 huge upsets. But I couldn't pick one. I don't know who's going to win it.
Yeah, coming in, I said I picked Boston, but said I could see if a 7's going to upset a 2, it's going to be the Caps. Yeah. If a 1 or 2 is going to get knocked off, I saw it there. But I got to say, I really am impressed by the Senators.
Yeah.
They, like you said, the physicality, the goaltending, they've got the veteran leadership. Alfredson obviously got knocked out.
But they still win.
Exactly. They still win. They pulled off an overtime win. They were, Braden Holtby, as great as a story as that's been, I feel like Boston is going to be able to come back with that cup leadership, that cup experience, and pull it together and say, hey, guys, it's 2-2 here. We're going back home for Game 5. Let's get it going already. They were held to 1 goal against Braden Holtby, and maybe Braden Holtby will take the series over, but they're going to dig down deep and say, look at what the position we're in. We're the Stanley Cup champions. Yeah. Whereas the Senators, I feel like the Rangers don't have that Stanley Cup experience and are vulnerable here. They've seen Craig Anderson play pretty damn well. As well as Lundqvist has played, Anderson's been unbelievable. So I got to say, I love the way the Senators are playing, and I think they're a hell of a match for the Rangers, and I think that might happen. That might pull off there. Yeah,
I was looking up the goalie stats today, and Craig Anderson is 1 notch below Henrik Lundqvist on pretty much everything. So he's matching him toe-to-toe. One note to make about the Caps game yesterday. At the end of that game, that building was so loud. You couldn't hear the announcers. You couldn't hear anything. They were going crazy. They want to win a series right now.
Yeah, I think Ted Leonsis would love it. Yeah. Instead of having a San Jose Sharks-like series, which we're going to get to right now. Yep. We didn't get to this earlier in the week. Last show we had St. Louis Blues are on the verge now of eliminating the Sharks here. 2-1 win last night, almost a shutout. Joe Thornton got a goal when they had the goalie pulled with a minute left. Series is at 3-1. With the Sharks on the verge of being eliminated in the first round, having such a mediocre season, I can't help but think, is this time to finally start dismantling the Sharks, because they've got serious issues if they're going to go out like this to the Blues, who, give them credit, they've got a ton of defense. What do you think here? Are the Sharks done, and are the Sharks more long-term done?
Yeah, I mentioned it in the playoff preview show. I said if the Sharks don't win something big this year, then I think they might start dismantling this team, because every single year the Sharks are the team to beat. They come in, they're down 3-1 to the Blues. The Blues have been great. But I think I agree with you. I think the Sharks are probably done in a series, and I think the Sharks long-term might be dismantled.
They've had the same GM, Doug Wilson, since 2003. What have they done since then? Yeah. Disappoint.
Exactly.
Disappoint. They've won a President's Trophy. 2 years in a row they went to the conference finals, but they've never won that. They've never gotten to the Cup finals with all the talent and expectations of the world. You've got Joe Thornton, you had Danny Heatley, Havlat, you've got Dan Boyle, you've got Logan Couture, a rookie sensation who's now in his 2nd or 3rd year. You brought in Antti Niemi, who's won a Cup, and you still can't get it done. So you've changed coaches a couple times. I think it might be time to change the fabric of that team, because with the same GM, that team is a constant tinkerer. Yeah. Every trade deadline, every July 1st, they are they're one of the teams that makes a major move. And what are the results? Nothing. They're constantly moving the shells around. It's a big shell game, bringing players in and out. No consistency. And look what we've got here. The St. Louis Blues look like they have
playing great.
They look like they have no competition right now.
I mean, you have their 4 Havlat, Couture, Pavelski, Thornton, 4 goals in 4 games. Isn't going to cut it. Brian Elliott's been playing great. I want to shout out BJ Crombeen yesterday. Almost got the game winner.
And that's the first BJ Crombeen shout out we've had on this show.
And the Vermette one last week.
Yeah.
Is there a team more comfortable playing with a 1-goal lead than the St. Louis Blues? They get 1 goal and it seems like the game is over.
They're more comfortable with that than the Devils were. I think the Devils used to get 2 goals and then shut it down. The Blues, you're absolutely
1 goal.
Right.
All they need is 1 goal.
They can make 1 goal last, and especially with the goaltending.
Exactly.
Halak's hurt. They bring in Elliott. Who cares?
Yeah.
Same result.
Yeah. So many great two-way players on that team, on forwards. This team is going to beat the Sharks. I'm going to say it right now.
Yeah, we'll see who they get next round, if it'll be good. But the Blues, in addition to the goaltending, their defensive system, last night they blocked 26 shots. Yeah. 9 were blocked by their 3rd D pair, Chris Russell and Roman Polak. you get that sort of
depth right there.
Yeah, you get that sort of giving up your body and commitment by the third D pair in the first round in a series that you seem to have in hand. They're giving up their bodies already like it's Game 7 of the Cup Finals. Yeah. This team, I predicted to win round 1, not necessarily go further than that, but maybe they will. Who's going to stop them?
Exactly.
Who's going to beat this defensive system?
I have no idea. I mean, imagine a series with the Blues and the Coyotes.
Oh boy,
2 great goaltenders. Pretty good defensively.
Both with timely goal scoring.
Yeah, that'd be a great series to watch.
Those would probably all go to overtime as well.
1-0.
1-0, just like the Caps Bruins were first game. All right, moving on here. Devils Panthers, another topic we did not get to the first week. You know why? Because it's the Devils Panthers. Who really cares? I mean, come on. But the Panthers had this massive comeback in Game 3 last night. Devils win 4-0, tie it up. But the Panthers had this historic comeback in Game 3. Marty Brodeur gets yanked because they were up 3-0 and lose the game 4-3. How about that? How about Marty Brodeur? First time I think ever in history, playoff history, he in 47 tries, I think, some insane number, he's ever lost a 3-0 lead in the playoffs.
Yeah, my best friend, one of my friends, he's a Devils fan, texted me and goes, "Marty Brodeur is a fossil. I'm glad they yanked him." and then so the Panthers power play was 3 for 3 in that game. They just they had their number. And then Brodeur comes back yesterday, 26 save shutout, gets the record for shutouts in playoff history. Made some great saves. It looked like Marty Brodeur with a kick save and a beauty I saw in one of them. I mean, just looked great.
Classic
kick save and a beauty.
He's one of those goaltenders that has an insane number I don't have in front of me where coming off a loss in the playoffs, he turns it around and his numbers are unbelievable. It's like if you beat him the next game, look out because you're in store for a big performance. Yeah. What are you going to do when you've got possibly the greatest goaltender of all time? He, at least record-wise, holds a lot of, if not all the records. Big thing for the Devils here was Zach Parise finally got on the score sheet. First 3 games, nothing. Last night, finally got his first goal, 1 of 4, but he got, I think his was the first or second of the game, so it wasn't like it was even
right?
It wasn't even like it was a garbage goal, though, because he got it at a more important time of the game. That's really important. You can't have him 3 games into a first-round matchup, or with any matchup, with nothing. He's
your captain.
Yeah, he's your captain, and, Kovalchuk obviously is going to put the goal in the net, the puck in the net, but you can't have either one of those guys not scoring at all. So getting him off the schneid may be what propels the Devils on, like we both thought. But the Panthers are giving them a hell of a series here.
They definitely are. I mean, we all took the Panthers or Devils in 5-4.
Easily.
I think Vince said it was a bye series. Definitely not a bye series right now.
Yeah, he said that about the Rangers Senators.
Yeah, he definitely did. Yeah, exactly.
He gives no respect to these Florida teams. These these teams in the Ottawa. Whatever.
Also, Kovalchuk's snipe yesterday. What a great goal! Just like top. I mean, it's Kovalchuk.
He's going to get those goals no matter what.
Yeah, definitely. You got to put a body on him. You have to.
He's probably the only one that would score against the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
It really, really going to be interesting. I would actually love to see this go to 7 because nobody's been watching it. It's been buried on NHL Network. Everyone's watching other games. I would love to see more of the series, whereas I'm usually watching other games. So if this goes deep, other series end early, it'll get its sort of
it's been interesting. I've been watching it here and there, and it's actually been a decent series.
How about this for a decent series? The Philadelphia Flyers on the verge of, a sweep of the state rival Pittsburgh Penguins. And how many goals did they give up last game?
10 goals.
10. I had to check the score a couple
It could have been more, maybe.
Yeah, unbelievable. Ilya Bryzgalov gives up 5. They pull him. Bob gives up 5. Neil wasn't in the game.
Neil didn't even play.
With a hat trick. 10 goals. Does it look like now we have a series whereas there was no hope before?
Man, if there's going to be any hope, this is the game that would give you hope. I mean, Fleury made some good saves. Stahl got a hat trick. Crosby scored. Malkin scored. They're not talking about Fleury anymore. They're talking about Bobrovsky and Bryzgalov's foot and calling up Michael Leighton and whole problems. I mean, the Flyers, they're up 3-1. We can't you can't lose sight of that. It's 3-1. They're they're coming back to Pittsburgh tonight. They've been terrible. The Penguins have been terrible in Consol against the Flyers. But this is the game.
Who owned Consol?
Yeah. But this is the game that they needed but I don't really know. I mean, at this point, who knows? I mean, I hear driving over here, you got people talking 3-2 game, 2-1 game. It could be 9 goals again. It could be 10. Who knows?
I expected this last game to be that 3-2 game, and holy crap, there were 7 goals in the first period. It was unbelievable. That's a throwaway game to me, because I think an overtime game is harder to come back from than a blowout. We see blowouts in the playoffs, and the next game, the team, it's a wake-up call for the other team. Whereas an overtime loss sort of is deflating and gets you get so hyped and you just come down from that. Here's 2 things to consider. Yes, the Penguins got some of their guys going. Evgeny Malkin finally scored, got 2 goals in the game. Confidence. That will build confidence for the Penguins forwards and the Penguins offense, who every game would score early and then be more or less shut down the rest of the way and not know what the hell was going on. Number 2, yes, there's the goaltending question. You bring up Michael Leighton. The Flyers brought up Michael Leighton. I think that is nothing more than a motivational tool for Bob and Briz, who have been so bad in this series. The numbers are abysmal for all the goalies in this series, but they had that bad of a game. I think this was nothing more than Peter Laviolette playing games and saying, all right, you guys want to give up 5 goals each? Here we go. Let's put them in practice and see if this will get you jump-started. Because we're 4 games into the series and you still haven't had a great game yet. We'll put something in your mind to get you motivated. So I think that's to consider. But I think you're right. 3-1, the thing's not over. If Game 5 goes the Penguins' way, we got a series. My God, do we have a series. So if the Philly can't shut it down in Pittsburgh, which is their home away from home, then we're in for something. We're in for a treat,
Tonight is a huge game. Tonight, and is Brizgalov going to start tonight? It seemed like his foot was a little messed up. He was laterally terrible in that last game.
That goal to Letang, oh my God.
The Letang goal, everything was, It's going to be a great game.
Last one here. Again, the only other game tonight, Preds Wings, once again up against the Flyers Pens. I don't know why they keep doing that, but there's only 2 games tonight. The Preds can eliminate home Friday night Game 5. Do you see it happening? Wings out in 5.
I could see it happening. I mean, the Predators went into Detroit and beat them twice in their unbeatable place. They beat them twice. I think they could do it tonight. I mean, the same thing is the Wings could win this game, and it could be 3-2, and we could be back here on Monday or Tuesday talking about how anyone can win this series.
Well, of course anybody can win.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. We both thought that the Wings were going to pull out Game 4. Defensively, they were abysmal.
Yeah, they're terrible.
All 3 of the goals, the Wings looked like the Penguins did in Games 2 and 3, and the Flyers did in Game 4. They were all looking at the puck. The last one that iced the game when the Red Wings still had a chance to tie, Dan Cleary brings it. Instead of going around or tossing it around from behind the net, it comes straight up in front of the goal. Legwine just whacks it. Just whacks it off his stick into the net. Game over. You can't have that. That's not Detroit Red Wings hockey. But this is, unfortunately, as I've been saying, what we've been seeing from the Red Wings from the later stages of the season. And they came into the playoffs like this. They haven't turned it around yet. I don't know what hope they really do have.
Yeah, and they're putting a ton of shots on Pekka Rinne, and they're just not going in the net. He had 40 saves again. He has a .942 save percentage. They're just like, they're not getting the bounces. They're not playing good defense. Predators are exploiting them. They're beating them in their own house. It just looks like the Predators could wrap it up tonight. This
could have been a 7-game series for the ages. And the way the Red Wings have been playing has been slowly building confidence, I think, for the Predators. Whereas early on, it was really tight. And now it's like the Predators, everything seems to be going their way because of the Red Wings play. And they're just feeding into the Predators' psyche. And I think they're going to roll tonight. I think it's going to be over, and there's going to be a lot of questions in Detroit.
Yeah, I agree.
Big games, Game 5 for the 4-5 series, both tonight. Be back Monday. We'll talk about all the action on the weekend and look forward to everything next week. For Jeremy Northrop, I'm Caleb Morgan, muckandgrind.tv. Thanks for joining us.
Tune in next time for another episode of the Muck and Grind Show. Or check out past episodes anytime at www.muckandgrind.tv.